All right, so we are joined from Dallas, Texas, by my friend Cherrell Green, serial entrepreneur, owner of multiple businesses, the Green Print Consulting, October 31st Trucking, the Debt Slayer, also interventional specialist, interventional specialist there. Just has her hands in so many things. We got the business. We're in the business administration career cluster, and we've got a room full here with us at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends at Madison County Schools: Rosa Scott, Madison Central, Old Town, Germantown High School, Ridgeland High School, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. So we thank you so much for taking some time for us today. Now, just before we get into all your entrepreneurship that you've done, you're originally from Chula, Holmes County, right up the road.
Yeah, I'm from Holmes. Well, I'm from Chula in Holmes County, by way of Jackson State, D. Jackson State University Incorporated.
Now,
So
one thing, yeah,
I
now,
am a Mississippian.
yeah, Mississippi and the DFW.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I hear a lot of kids say is that they want to be entrepreneurs. They want to be their own boss. They
Mhm.
see all the glamorous side of it. They see all the Instagram posts. They hear, I'm a big fan of Jasmine Sullivan, but her song really makes me mad as she talks about, I'm going to start my own business, move to Atlanta and be rich. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. So even though entrepreneurship can be very lucrative and it does have a lot of rewards and there are a ton of pros to it, there's a lot of things that I think kids that want to start any type of business don't really see. So
Mhm.
you've started multiple businesses and have been successful in all of them. So talk a little bit about, the businesses you have started and are currently running and what all it takes to be an entrepreneur, because a lot of people don't really see the business side of it.
Well, one, you've followed me a long time. I don't give false hope to people about entrepreneurship because it come with a lot of heartache. It's a lot of money that you lose in the process. Of course, it's good. And when you say you become your own boss and you feel like you have this unlimited amount of time, you don't. When you work for yourself, you work 25/8. Like it's because you running your own business. So for the first couple of years, you working nonstop. Now life is a lot easier for me because I don't um over I don't put a lot of stuff on me now. So I take things in seasons. All of my businesses have seasons. Some work all through the year. Like right now we're in creative restoration. We're in all of my consulting business time. So this will go about 6 months. Then we'll cut this off and go into some other things throughout the rest of the year. So I have learned to balance my time. So I got into business in 2015. My first business was creative restoration. And before I got into credit restoration, I was a client. So I'm like, I can do this. So the people that I was going through for credit restoration, you can become an agent. I said, okay, cool. But you only made like $12 per client. So me being me, I have to always cut out the middleman. So I got one of my cousins to buy the program. And they gave me the information, and it been credit restoration since then. Um, Now I do credit restoration, I do consulting, I do grants. We had a trucking business, although we not doing much with it right now. Hopefully we start back up in August. And then I'm a realtor in Dallas. And hopefully about the next couple of weeks, I'll be closing on my first real estate transaction. So, and then I'm a teacher by day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, and now there's two things there you just mentioned I wanted to hit on real quick is that I have a lot of kids tell me they're interested in real estate because they think it's easy or
Mhm.
they think it's money, and it can be, but realtors, no matter where you are to a very much large extent entrepreneurs because you may be sponsored by a certain broker, but you are a contract
Mhm.
employee. You really have to go out and find your clients on your own. And then
Mhm.
also that I've seen is a lot of entrepreneurs keep day jobs to have that steady income, to keep
You
benefits,
do.
especially if they have children. I know you have a daughter,
Mhm.
having the state of Texas benefits if she gets sick for healthcare and things like that is very beneficial.
So for me, yeah, I would suggest kids go and get their real estate license only because that's what I'm instilling in my own child. So, but when she turns 17, her requirement is that she has to go to real estate school. By the time she turned 18, she could take the test because I want her to have that background. I want her to be able to do her own real estate transactions. And even if you don't do your own, have clients, you can do your own real estate transactions. It's so many benefits with having your real estate license. You collect your own commission. You can put it back into your closing costs because you have to pay money to close on a house. So you can. Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine.
I have kids coming in and out of here, so
That's fine.
um, so it is a pretty good industry to go in, and just to have, you never know when you want to close on your own. Whenever you close on your own house, when you guys become older, you can do that. You can start buying real estate when you turn 18 years old. In some cases, depending on what state, you can close it at this age if you have the money and you just go out there and purchase a home. You know, kids do, you know, they big entrepreneur. Gen Z, they taking over. Gen Alpha, they taking over. So those kids will have a lot of money and a lot of resources that millennials and Gen X didn't have or don't have. So the resources are out there for them, and I'm loving what I'm seeing with Gen Z and Gen Alphas. I love it because
Now,
they won't be in jobs.
yeah. Now, and that's a good point because we've had several alums in the last few years from Velma Jackson start their own businesses of several types. Now, obviously, I'm not an anti-college person, but I'm also a truth person. There's no point if all you want to do is be an entrepreneur. You can learn the business coming out of high school, maybe get a certification in a certain type of trade, and then learn the business and go into business for yourself. You don't necessarily have to go to college to become an entrepreneur. We have a recent alum of Velma Jackson who has opened a lash studio in Ridgeland. That's her full-time job. She's invested all of her money into it, and she's doing very well. She did not go to college. So if you have that
So,
ethic and that business mind, it's something you can really be somewhat successful in if you're willing to put in the effort.
so for me, two parts to it because I'm on both spectrums, and um, I have degrees. And when I was growing up, it was a lot of grief and regret in going to get degrees. Because when I was growing up, all I knew was to go get a degree. My family, it wasn't no such thing as trades, and you had to go to medical school or nursing school, or you had to go do something big. It wasn't nothing lower level that you can do because they couldn't see past getting a degree. And I always kind of knew I was going to be in business. Like even when I was a little girl, I wrote down all my entrepreneur dreams and a lot of them that I'm living out now. But if I had the resources that I have now, I probably wouldn't have went and got my degree. I would have went into trade. I would have did something else because all of my friends that are in trades, they are making way more money than I am. It's a lot less stressful because, you know, throughout the years, I've been going in and out of education because I needed the funds to support all my other businesses. But now another part of it is anytime that I ever went in and out the classroom or in and out of education, I can always come back because I had the degrees until I could get the money to furnish my business. So it's both of them have their pros and cons. In my household, we do not talk about college like my parents did when I was growing up. My baby, she is able to go and be an entrepreneur. She wants to. She's 12. She'll be 13 on Halloween. She loved doing hair. She loved doing nails. And you know what I do? I go buy all the products for this because we're not wasting time in college if that's not what you want to do. We're not going to pay all this money for a music degree. We're not going to do that. We're not going to pay money for a business degree because you don't need a degree to be in business.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big advocate of telling kids all they have to do is go to school, go to college, because a lot of kids, they barely want to come to school now. So if they, but now you got truancy to make them come. You know, parents are held accountable, but when they go to college, nobody cares if you go to school. Nobody holds you accountable. If you want it, you want it. If you don't, you just don't. You just get kicked out of school. So it's no accountability when you go to college. So if kids don't have the structure and a determination to do it in high school, how can they do that in college?
Absolutely. And then, you know, and
So
I know Texas has a great community college program. You know, Mississippi does as well. You know, with a 20 on the ACT, you can go to Holmes Community College tuition free. And that is not just for the academic track, that is for the career track as well. You can learn a trade, get certified to work in a trade, start getting experience, where you can eventually become an entrepreneur and at 19, 20 years old. And that is for 100% tuition free.
well, Texas is one of those states that really they get it because they realize a lot of kids won't go to college. So they have programs. They have all of this stuff that kids can do while they are in school. They have alternative programs when they graduate. Like right now, my babies, of course, they would not, more likely, they would not be on a college campus anyway. Well, you know, the circumstances that they have, they won't be on the college campus. But they have day programs, like my babies go to jobs every day. They go on trips, they teach them how to live by themselves. So Texas get it.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
one thing I did want to hit on too is you mentioned you were in the trucking business, and I have so many kids, and I know I can
mhm.
speak for the other teachers, though I have so many kids talk about, and I hate hearing this word. They say, "Well, I'm just gonna drive trucks like it's easy." And I know you never had a CDL, but you hired a lot of truckers and you dealt with a lot of trucking. Trucking is
Mhm.
extremely important
Mhm.
and it can be lucrative, but it is not as near as simple as some of these kids think it is.
Especially now because it's overly saturated. But that's the thing, like kids, or not kids, even grown people, they hear all of the people say, "Oh, you make $20,000, $30,000 a month. You can do this, you can do that," and they don't tell them all the downsides that come with trucking. Trucking is a high risk business, a lot of overhead in trucking. And of course, I dealt from the business side of it versus driving. But it's not the money that people expect to have. Even if you got your own truck, it's so much come with owning your own truck. The only thing, like if you're a company driver, you don't have to deal with the headache, the heartache, because you're just gonna have a regular check. But you're gonna get paid regular money. Like you're gonna get paid regular money like if you was working any other job. Depending on what you hauling, or you know, if you're doing chemicals and stuff, you will get paid more money. But if you just a regular truck driver, you're gonna make regular money. And if all you're gonna do is make regular money, just work a regular job and you don't have to get on the road, you don't have to risk your life for regular money. Now,
Yeah,
if you were making $20,000 a month, I see you get on the road. I can see you get on the road for
yeah,
20, but
absolutely.
$44,000 a month, you can make that just being around your home and making that type of money.
Yeah, and I
And we
think that,
have
and again, yeah, and again, trucking is extremely important. It's not going anywhere, but it's not just, you know, they're not giving out jobs like candy like you hear on these commercials, and it is very, very difficult, and is one of probably the highest drug tested career in the United States.
it's the one of the top five industries that you have to be in compliance 100% of the time, because you don't just drive for you, you drive for everybody else on that road. Then if you hurt someone, all the trouble you can get into. So it's not just, oh, I'm just going to make money. If you're trying to get into trucking for money, that ain't the career for you, because you're not, you got to have another purpose outside of money, because if the money is not there, then you're not going to want to do it. My dad had been in trucking almost 40 years, and all my family is pretty much in trucking. And I never heard him complain about trucking like I do young people. Like, because they'd put in their head that they're supposed to make a certain amount of money, and that's not the case. My daddy that went through the ups and downs of trucking. My family have went through the ups and downs of trucking. I done went through the ups and downs of trucking. So do your research, and it's not me telling you guys not to go into trucking, but if somebody tell you the truth, it's easy for you to go through things and not have all these high expectations. So if you don't make $20,000 but you make four, well, Cherrell told you was going make 4,000, and you will be comfortable with that because I haven't told you, oh, you're gonna make $20,000 a month, and you looking for $20,000 a month with no experience. So it's a
Absolutely.
lot that play into it, but like I always say, if God or the universe told you to do something, is already provision for it. But even when I'm mentoring or talking to my clients, I'm telling people the truth because my clients going to buy equipment. And if you're going to spend that type of money, you got to get on the phone with, if I'm going to be your mentor, you have to get on the phone with 4 or 5 of my friends that's in trucking, been in trucking for years, because we need you to know this is what you're getting yourself into, whether you like it or not, and you may feel some type of way because we telling you that. Nobody never lied to me about trucking, and I don't want to lie to anybody else about trucking. So I would tell them, like somebody told me when I first got in it, it's gonna set you free, but it's gonna hurt your feelings first. And it hurt my feelings a whole lot. And I was looking for the free part, but it was more hurt feelings than setting me free.
Absolutely. Now, the last thing I
So,
want to talk
you know,
about before I get to the students' questions is back to entrepreneurship. You know, we've had several students come through here that have started their own business, whether it be a full-time or a side hustle or something they're building into. And it's one of the two main things I've noticed from young entrepreneurs is, first of all, they're trying to do something that everybody else does, which can work, but you have to be able to market yourself. The other thing I see is I immediately see them start posting prices, and I immediately say, you're not charging enough. You can't have a high school mindset when you start to set your prices, because being the cheapest does not mean you're going to be the most successful. So talk about those two things and how they work hand in hand with being an entrepreneur.
So one, I'm a mentor, so I train people. A lot of especially with kids, they go into popularity business, and there are a lot of grown people, the beauty industry, the nail industry, the lashes, that's a popularity business. So that means that if you're not as popular as other girls or the other guys, that may be a hard business for you to do. A boutique, those are popularity business. So if you go buy all of this merchandise and just because you want to open it, do you have the popularity or the client to sell your to sell your products? So is that always play a part in it. And also marketing. You may not be as popular, but if you market your stuff, like I'm on social media, I got media kits and stuff going on for myself. If you can do the marketing, you will be okay too. So if either you're popular or you got the marketing. The last question was what? I went blank. What
No,
was the
it was
last
about,
question?
I always see how people aren't charging enough because they're trying to be the cheapest.
Okay. So for me, I have a target audience. When you're dealing with your business, you have to have a target audience. So because I deal in my community, I'm helping people within a certain tax bracket or a certain income. I have to, my prices match what audience that I have. Yes, I could charge more money, but it ain't even about the money for me. It's about community and collaboration. So if your mission, if you have your mission, if you have your target audience, you can price it at anything that you want to price it at. Now, I do have clients that know I sell certain stuff and they know that I have different prices. They know they can come and get $3,000 or $4,000 worth of trade lines. But because my main audience is not can't pay $3,000 or $4,000 for trade lines, I don't even market it.
Yeah.
So those are the factors that go into it. That's your popularity and that's your market.
Absolutely.
And your confidence. Like it don't matter to me. For me, and I look at a lot of people, it's all about the likes on social media. If you don't get the likes on social media, you must do not have a good business. Keep posting, keep talking. When people see you care, they would care. When they see you investing in your business, they will invest in your business. Well, my life ain't never been about likes and all that type of stuff, because the likes don't equate money. It don't equate what people see you as outside of social media. And I also do mom and pop. I'm an old school girl, so I do go into my community. I do put out flyers. I do put out flyers on people's cars, because I cover all of the board. I don't just rely on social media. So that's another thing too.
Absolutely. Now I got some great questions from the students. I'll get to as many of these as I can. This first one's Edward Flowers.
Okay.
He's in ninth grade. He's a member of our band. And he asked, how do you get your ideas for making your new businesses?
Well, I'm blessed. Since I've been a little girl, I don't know. Anything that I have done, it just been good for me. Yes, I have ups and downs. Yes, I fail too, but I get back up. So that's the difference. And I look at things that I have not been successful in as a learning opportunity. Even with trucking, okay, it made me a better boss. It made me look at things different. It made me self-reflect. So my ideas come from God. That's all I can say. Like I bet since I've been a little girl.
That's awesome. This is Tadavian Smith, also ninth grade, also a member of our band. And he asked, what businesses do you plan on starting in the future?
Well, I think we done starting businesses now. I proved to myself that I can do all I can. Everything that I written down when I was 7 or 8 years old. For the most part, I have tried it. My end goal is just real estate now. We will do real estate and we will do trucking. So it's no more new businesses that I would start because I did all the hard stuff now.
Here's an interesting question, and this is kind of different from what we were talking about, but this is Ashton Job, and he wants to be a teacher. So he's got a
Mhm.
question about teaching. He said, when you got back into teaching, how long did it take for you to make things fun when you were writing your lessons?
Well, I'm always a fun teacher. So before I got into, I've been a teacher since 2015 on and off. So I started off in history, which is my major, and I love history. So I would decorate my classroom. My classroom would be the best classroom on the block. If we was going to a country, I would dress up as the country. The kids would have food from that country. The room would be decorated as the country. So I do realize in this generation, you have to have the thrills and chills for kids because now they in class is 2 hours. So as long as you in Miss Green classroom, you're gonna have fun bell to bell. And
Love
then
it.
I also empathize with kids. 2 hours, I'm an adult and I really can't do 10 minutes of a conversation or a lecture. You got to be able to land the plane with me. Like we're not going to be doing lectures for 2 hours. So I have to make sure that I always put myself in my, when I was in the classroom in my baby's shoes to empathize with them, to have lessons that they can receive. So even though I'm not in the classroom anymore, all of my babies from 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, they look at me, they like happy that I was their teacher. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. Now, here's a good one. This is Precious Willis. She's a member of our volleyball team and our choir, and her mother is an entrepreneur. So she's asking, what is the
Mhm.
best way to raise funds for your first business?
Um, well, since y'all kids, well, for me, if it was my child, um, she the only kid, so pretty much anything she asks, she's just gonna get if she want to start a business. You guys have to any little money you get if it's from your what they call it, doing chores or allowance and stuff. If you really know you want to do a business, you can do a business. I started a business on $12. So if you want to do a business, you're gonna do the business and save your money to do it. And hopefully your parents and stuff will help you do it also.
That's awesome. Now, Layla Jones and Alonzo Green both asked the same question, but they're both members of our band. And they asked, what advice would you give someone who wanted to start into entrepreneurship?
Just start. Starting is the hard part. Once you start, everything else is easy. Once you get over fear, once you get over what you think other people feel about you, everything else will be easy. But starting is the hard part. Just start. And don't care if you make mistakes and you fail a little bit or you have to start over. It's okay. I've been starting over since beginning of time. It's okay to start over. But my friend, she told me this a couple years ago. She said, once you get over the failure, once you get over the embarrassment, once you get over all of these things and the fear, everything gonna be okay. Because in the end, we always internalize things that everybody else don't be caring about. So when we get out our own heads, everything else will be okay. So you may get into a business and you may fail because that's the reality of it. That's okay. But you got to be okay with that happening to you. Once you accept your losses like you do your wins, you're going to be okay. And I have lost a lot, but I still get up and I try again. I'm trying to figure out how I learn and grow from these experiences. So my thing is, if you fall, get back up. It's okay. So yeah.
All right, I got time for two more. This is Jernylan Fleming Nash, also a member of our band, and that's a great segue into this question. If she asks, what are the biggest obstacles you have faced as a Black business owner?
Well, we can go to trucking. When I first got my truck, 3 weeks later got hit during the pandemic. Stayed in the shop 10 weeks. So at this particular time, because the parts was behind, COVID was a weird time, so you just couldn't go and get stuff like you used to. So at this time, I had $4,000 worth of truck bills, $4,000 worth of house bills. So that's like almost $8,000-9,000. And it's like, God just been good. And I didn't even know that stuff was working. Like, the truck wasn't running. I had quit teaching for the third time because I'm like, yeah, I'm about to be a millionaire in my head. And the truck got hit 3 weeks later. But in the midst of my truck getting hit, I found the lesson, and it's one, you just humble yourself. So when I got into my prayer bag and was just listening to God throughout this whole process, my bills were still getting paid. That truck note was still getting paid. So that was one of the biggest things that ever happened to me, probably the worst thing that ever happened to me, but I got through it.
That's awesome. Well, I got time for one more. This is Michaela Job. She's in 10th grade. And she asked, what is the most rewarding part of being an entrepreneur?
To see that your dreams in your head that went on paper, that you see in real time. When you look back over your dreams and be like, I did this. That truck was just a thought. That thought became a thing. So that's the most rewarding thing to me, that my thoughts and my work, I feel like really don't nobody work as hard as me, because I don't know how I juggle all of this stuff. And there's a lot on my plate, but I do all of this stuff with ease because I feel like at every step of the way, one, God is always with me, and two, I'm meant and born for this. So when you have the confidence and you believe what God in the universe say, because I know we in school, so but this is my own personal beliefs and own opinions, that he always gonna provide, and I just walk into my goals, my dreams, with the confidence that he already there. He meet me there. I just have to meet him there. So that's where I am in my life.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some time for us. But before we go, a couple things. Tell us where to find your business website.
thegreenprintconsultant.com. And then I'm also on social media. So, but I don't follow kids. So when y'all turn 18, you're welcome to follow me.
But that'd be,
So
if anybody,
yeah,
anybody interested in any of your services would be available. Now, before we
yeah.
go, you're from rural Mississippi, just like we
Mm-hmm.
are here. Yet you've become extremely successful. So you grew up with similar circumstances without the same things that these kids have now. So it can be done. So what can these kids start thinking about now to be successful in entrepreneurship, despite despite what circumstances they may be in?
So because I have done one of these with you probably 2 or 3 years ago, but I have to always be transparent too. Yes, I grew up in Chula, but I didn't have the same circumstances because my family was pretty affluent and well off in Chula. So I was always provided way more opportunities than probably anyone else around me. So if I needed tutoring, they paid to go to Sibling, and they would travel an hour and 15 minutes just to take us to Sibling just to learn how to read. We spent summers in California, in Florida, and Texas. So it's a little bit different because my family have always talked about finances. My family have always talked about business. And not to say nothing was wrong with the kids that I was growing up around. It's just if they had obstacles, I didn't have them. But it don't matter what you do. no matter where you come from, your circumstances do not determine what you can be in this life. And I have came, like I said, I came from a pretty good family. Don't mean I didn't have obstacles though, because it's only so far they can take you. And then you start making all these bad choices by yourself. So a lot of choices that I have made, if I had to listen to them, I probably wouldn't make them, but you have to learn on your own. But long story short is, you're not a product of your environment. You can go and be whatever you want to be. You have the resources, you have the tools, you don't have to stay there. You can get up and go and be something better. Also, if you guys ever thought about moving from Mississippi, that could be a good thing for you. If you want to move, it's okay. It's resources everywhere. Don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to venture out. You have what you need to be successful. If you ever come to Texas, you can find a job in 1 week, and it's gonna be a good job. You can find you an apartment in 1 week. It's gonna be a good apartment. You can get things here. I love Texas. So Texas is one of those states that'll do stuff for you no other state will do, but don't be afraid to venture out and you'll be okay.
Absolutely. Well, I know you
So
got to
that's
get
my
back to
little.
work. We thank you so much for joining us. I'll be in Dallas in June. We got to get together. So Cherrell Green, all the
Yeah.
way from Dallas, Texas. We thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay. You guys have a great day. Okay.
I talk to you soon, buddy.